All right, folks, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys want to be updated on a daily basis of what's happening across the globe and how that affects the price of silver, especially right now as the price is falling and falling and more information is coming out, is it going to be the bottom or is it going to start correcting? You want to be informed, and I will do that for you. We're today going to hear what Bank of America thinks about silver's price. But first, I just want to share, please subscribe. It's free and you'll always be updated and kept in the loop. So, interestingly enough, and I think this is pretty telling, Bank of America says there's 3 rate hikes. Most people are saying there's 2 rate hikes, and they're mentioning that silver just priced in the first one, so we have 2 more to go. This article was written 3 days ago. Silver was $61.91. Now silver is at $59.31. So why the gap? Silver runs on 2 demand engines. Only one is being hit today. The catalyst, Bank of America, projects 75 basis points of Fed rate hikes in 2026, 3 moves in September, October, and December. Dutch Bank followed with 2 hikes. CME FedWatch now prices a December hike at 88%. So what to watch? PCE inflation data drops Thursday, June 25th. Soft core print slows Bank of America September hike clock. A hot print validates it. So, if you're asking why silver is falling harder than gold today, the answer arrived Monday morning with the Bank of America research note. Bank of America issued its most aggressive rate forecast on record, 3 25 basis point hikes in September, October, and December. The result would lift Fed funds to 4.25% to 4.5%. Dutch Bank followed with 2 hikes together. Both banks sent the same message. The Fed's pause is ending. Gold and silver, of course, fell harder. The gap is not noise. It's exactly what happens when you hit one of silver's 2 demand engines. So this is a good question as well. Why did silver drop almost 5% while gold dropped less than 2? So both metals carry a monetary premium, the extra value they hold, because neither has a counterparty and neither can be printed. They serve as stores of purchasing power when fiat currencies lose credibility. That monetary premium is inversely tied to real yields. When real yields rise, the cost of holding non-yielding assets go up. That happens when you can earn 2% above inflation in treasury bonds. Money flows toward yield and away from metal. Gold takes that hit, silver takes it roughly 3 times harder. The reason: silver runs a second demand engine that gold does not. So it's a double-edged sword. Silver's best of both worlds could also hurt it, especially as silver's a lot more volatile than gold. Approximately 58% of annual silver demand is in industrial, solar, EV battery, semiconductors, AI data center components. That demand does not pause for Fed meetings, but futures traders do. Silver futures are one of the most leveraged, momentum-sensitive markets in commodities. When the monetary premium compresses, traders reduce exposure fast. The industrial engine provides no short-term offset. Semiconductor manufacturers sourcing silver for Q3 chip production do not pause for Fed rate forecasts. So silver's paper price absorbs the full monetary hit. So today the gold to silver ratio expanded from roughly 63, yesterday approximately 66.5, and now it's probably even higher. So what exactly did Bank of America say, and why does it matter? So before last week's FOMC meeting, markets priced 0 hikes for 2026 when 9 of 18 participants submitted projections for at least 1 increase. So Fed Chairman Kevin Warsh leaned hawkish enough that Bank of America economist Adita Bave concluded the Fed's reaction function had shifted materially. Bank of America now forecasts 75 basis point hikes, 3 25 basis point moves in September, October, and December, bringing the Fed funds rate to 4.25% to 4.5%. That is 25 basis points more aggressive and 3 months earlier than futures markets, which approximately 42 basis points of total 2026 tightening. Dutch Bank projects 2. And if you guys don't remember, I made 2 different Bank of America videos over the past month and a half. The first one was when all of these different banks threw out their silver price forecasts. Most were in like the $80 region, maybe 100. Bank of America, it was like 309. Out of nowhere, just $309 silver, and everyone was shocked for a bank to say that. Even if you're more bullish, usually you say the more modest price just to kind of cover your butt, but they didn't. They came out, said 309, and then a few weeks later, the guy that called for that walked back his statement heavy. It was a very and the way he did it was kind of embarrassing for himself. I think that just the way he kind of walked back his words, and I made that video as well. But anyways, yeah, that's what they were saying was 309, and now of course they are extremely bullish. But here's the main question: what does this mean if you own physical metal? So what Bank of America changed on Monday is futures positionings. It did not change silver's sixth consecutive annual supply deficit, 46.3 million ounces in 2026 per the Silver Institute, nor did it change the AI infrastructure build-out consuming silver chip manufacturing. The same mechanism that caused silver to fall harder on hawkish days also drives it to recover faster when headwind reverses. Physical metal holders own both engines, monetary engine being repriced, which is why silver falling nearly 5%, while the industrial engine keeps running regardless of what Bank of America published. Rate hikes or these cycles do not end the structural case for sound money. Historical data shows gold has averaged a gain of 0.84% in the month following a 25 basis point Fed hike. That pattern holds across the three most recent tightening cycles because hikes tend to confirm the growth slowdown that makes physical assets relevant again. None of this is a reason to ignore this week's moves. It's a reason to understand them accurately. And I agree, the bigger picture is always, like Sprott's even mentioning, the bigger picture should always be there, especially when there's so much happening from the immediate term that might be affecting the price. That's when you kind of got to disconnect emotionally, think with your head, not your heart. Because when you start looking into the day-to-day prices, oh, yesterday was 58, today's 59, on Monday or whatever it was 62, and that will drive you crazy, especially those that are really hoping for it to do something sooner than most. If you're not planning on selling for 10, 15 years, you don't care whether it's 58 today or 63 tomorrow or 73 next week or 43. You don't really care unless maybe you want to get in and maybe make a larger purchase. Then yes, of course, the price would matter. But a lot of us, we're just waiting. I mean, I'm sure there are people that get frustrated. They've been waiting to sell, or maybe they said, man, I should have just sold in January. Nobody has a crystal ball. It's impossible to know exactly when to sell, and you definitely can't beat yourself up from it, especially when we know silver's true price, the true value of it compared to the illusion, or like Andy Schectman says, price is the greatest tool of misdirection, and people are heavily misdirected by the price. So Sprott sees strong long-term silver outlook despite recent price volatility, and it really is something to put in perspective. So silver has experienced significant price swings over the past 2 years, climbing from an average of roughly 24 in 2024 to as high as 118 in early 2026, and before pulling back to around 60. Now, some say 118, it was 121, depending on which exchange you looked. So despite that correction, he noted silver remains well above historical price levels. The discussion focused on silver's unique dual role, and as I mentioned before, that's kind of the double-edged sword. So, of course, they're probably going to go into the supply, demand, what silver is used for, the deficits, of course, yada, yada. So that's really what we should be, focusing on is the immediate day-to-day stuff. Silver looks like it's losing. The ratio says it's loading. That is another article that I'll probably cover in another video. But right now there's a lot happening, and all of it might be more bearish for silver, but like I always say, take advantage, buy the dips, and hopefully you guys are, if you guys want a safe, reliable place to buy where you actually can get access to a special price sheet that they don't advertise, I got you guys. Just send an email to info@milesfranklin.com, let them know Slayer sent you, and ask for the special price list. They don't advertise it, but Andy Scheckman hooks my audience up with it. So also make sure you let them know the Slayer sent you. Yeah. Anyways, folks, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Just want to make a quick video covering all of this, and hopefully you guys can see through all of the chaos and fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.